What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome to our Tuesday edition of the College Basketball Live Stream. He is Terrell, Furman. I'm Matt Perrault. You guys are getting us multiple times every week now, not just on Tuesday. We've been here on Tuesday for pretty much most of the college basketball season. You got us on Saturday coming up as well. More on that here in just 1 second. But first and foremost, Terrell, how are you? Happy Tuesday.
Oh, I'm good. I'm great. And I'm looking forward to a great week. I felt like I had some good moments in that first round, had a lot of fun.
I thought it sucked. You liked
Mhm.
it? I thought it was
Yeah.
boring as hell. We had 2 games worth talking about. The rest of them were boring. In
No.
Maryland, CSU, in Florida, and UConn. That's it.
Well, I like the games that I hit bets in. I
Well,
like
that's
those games.
fine. I'll
Those
give
are
you
those are
that.
fun. Those are fun.
The
But
betting was great. I'll give you the betting's fun. I love cashing tickets. That's all, but that's tremendous. But my goodness gracious, I mean, I don't need a Cinderella, but I don't need 7 SEC, 4 Big 10, and 3 Big 12 teams to make out the Sweet 16. I mean, my
hey,
goodness
sometimes
gracious.
those years happen. Sometimes those years happen.
It's never happened before. What do you mean? This is the
Now
first
you
time
have
I've
some
ever
chalkier years. You have some chalkier
Milwaukee
years where
years.
you
We've
see
never
it.
seen 7
Yeah.
from one conference being the Sweet 16. This is a record here. But before we get to the games, there is some breaking news. Richard Pitino has just been named the new head coach of Villanova. So another Pitino into the Big East. He leaves New Mexico. He will now become the new head coach of Villanova. You like
Uh,
it?
tell Worm. Somebody go tell Worm that his coach over there in Maryland might be safe now. I think they were talking about him in Villanova as well. So I didn't know that. That's breaking news to me. So shout out to the Patinos over there in the Big East. Can't wait to see that.
Yeah, so you got father and son now competing for recruits and battling against each other with dad at St. John's and son at Villanova in the Big East at basketball-focused schools in the Northeast. So big hire for Villanova to get their guy to come over. Supposedly he was their top target to go get
Mhm.
Richard Pitino. So he leaves New Mexico and gets another chance at a Power 4 conference or Power 5, depending on what you call the Big East for that. Okay. So, yeah, that's right. Wow is Pitino. Father like son. It's true. Yeah. I mean, bouncing around from program to program and winning in March. That's kind of the Pitino thing. It's just what they do
Love it.
for that. So I like the hire for Villanova. As a Creighton guy, I'm not really in love with it, but he will do well at Villanova, given I was not a Kyle Neptune fan by any means. I thought he was over his head from the get-go, but replacing a guy, a legend like Jay Wright was not going to be easy to do. He fell woefully short of doing that, and now Pitino comes in to replace him, leaving New Mexico, which had a tremendous year, making it to the tournament out of the Mountain West Conference. All right, let's start. We'll go into the East bracket. Arizona and Duke. Arizona gets there by defeating Oregon 87-83. They ended up covering the 3.5-point closing number, amazingly
Oh,
enough.
tell me about it. Tell me about it.
In that game, Duke destroyed Baylor. Never was a doubt. 89-66. Duke has won both games in incredible fashion, blowout fashion. This number now is Duke -9.5. The total is 153.5. I don't know how to play this other than doing a money line parlay with Duke, but you don't think Arizona wins this game, do you, Terrell?
I mean, it's the odds of March, and anything is possible. And Caleb Love, it seems like there is something there, and I could see if you get Duke into a close game, they are going to struggle. That is the only issue. However, that's a lot easier said than done. Getting Duke to a close game, not a lot of teams will be able to do it. However, Duke in close games, 1-3. Shout out to my guy PGA Glazer for giving me that. 1-3 Duke is in close games this season. So that's how I faded them against Clemson. I thought Clemson could get them to a close game. They did. It was in Flagg's hand. He turned the ball over. They lost. So if you get them into a close game, yeah, I do think that Duke can lose. However, it's hard for me to really fade that. There's so many options on this Duke team, and they're so good. Like, I don't want to get to the window in this game, but if I bet anything, it would probably be Duke laying the points.
So if you want to go by to the 15th of February, let's just run through the margins of victory here for Duke since the 15th of February. 36, 18, 43, 37, 35, 33, 13, 8 and 3 in the ACC tournament, then 11, 44 and 23 for the Duke Blue Devils. It really doesn't matter who they play right now. They are killing anyone that stands in their way. That is why Duke right now is the odds-on favorite to win the national championship. Hard to see Arizona keeping this close unless Caleb Love goes absolutely nuclear. If you want to go up to talk about the last time that Caleb Love saw Duke in the tournament, that's what he did for Carolina. He went off and he knocked out Duke from the NCAA tournament. So this could be interesting to see how this plays out when it comes to Carolina. When it comes to Arizona with Caleb Love shooting the basketball. They may keep it close or they may lose by 25. So I make it unplayable, except that Duke wins this game. Hard to see Duke in New Jersey lose this game outright. They're going to have a huge home court advantage. The number one concentration of Duke alumni in the country is in New York City. That's why Duke constantly plays in New York and New Jersey. This will be a Duke home game up against Arizona. The late game in that bracket is BYU against Alabama. You and I are on the same page here. We have seen some money come in on BYU today. Both you and I got 5.5 on this number. You can go first, and then I'll say it. Why do you like BYU?
Oh, man. I mean, we had already said, little rumblings. You were a lot more serious about it than me about fading Bama, but it was still the little, I really just don't get that warm fuzzy about Bama. When I watched the game against Robert Morris, I saw all the defensive lapses that I was like, yep, that's it right there. Somebody's going to expose that. And I was ready. And then I went back and looked at the bracket and I said, oh, man, they get either Vanderbilt or St. Mary's. Can't do it then. But here we are. BYU is a team that can take advantage of every single defensive lapse they have, whether it's on a backdoor cut, letting somebody free, whether it's the 3-point shooting on the perimeter, whether it's just straight up playing them in the post. Like, I do not think that they can sit there and they can handle BYU and everything they can. And so it's going to be a back and forth offensive game. And it really might be who has the ball last is going to be the team that wins. I love the points, and I'm definitely sprinkling on the money line because I do think BYU, hey, if you out Bama, you win. Unfortunately, a lot of teams haven't been able to do that, but you can win. I think the door is open for BYU to go out there and shoot the bricks out.
Yeah, so Bama and BYU both have been great bets this year against the number. BYU is 22-13 ATS. Bama is 20-15. In the Big 12, BYU was 14-8, including that historic win over Kansas at home where they beat them by, 100. They killed them, beat them by, 34 points. It was the worst loss to a non-ranked team when Kansas has been ranked in their basketball history. On the flip side, Bama went 13-7 in the SEC, and we know there's 7 teams of this Sweet 16 that's left from the Southeastern Conference. Alabama got here by wins against St. Mary's and Robert Morris by 9 and 14 points. VCU by 9 for BYU. And then the Wisconsin game is the one game that does scare me. I have BYU winning this game outright, but I am a little concerned about them blowing the leads that they've blown this season, including that game against Wisconsin, which should not have been close. They were up big in that game, and they allowed Wisconsin to come back into the game because they took their foot off the gas. So I'm a little concerned about BYU doing that with Alabama because the firepower for the Crimson Tide is way more explosive than what we've seen with Wisconsin. So this game, I think BYU money line is worth your sprinkle. I took 5.5. You took 5.5. We're down to 5 here in Vegas. Opened up at 3.5. So it looks like the ceiling is going to be 5.5 for this. But 176, Terrell, 176 in an NCAA tournament game. You can't bet over that, can you?
Oh, what? I mean, why not? What if it's exactly what we expect? What if it's exactly what we expect? It could be exactly what we expect. I'm not going to play it. I won't. But I'm very much going to be watching. And if there's ever any slow start in the game, I will definitely come in on a live number and get it a little bit lower. But why not? I mean, it could 100% be 90, 95 as a final score. That exactly sounds how this game could go.
Alabama had a total of 149.5 up against St. Mary's. The game went under. It fell 146. Against Robert Morris, the total was, I believe, 170. It landed at 171. So just to take a look at this, the books have been pretty sharp when it comes to Alabama totals, at least closing numbers for Bama. The opener was too low, clearly, because the professionals came in and buried it when it was 171.5, and we're up to 176. I'm just going to let this climb, and I'm telling you, I'll bet the under. I can't imagine this game being this high scoring, but you're absolutely right to maybe you just wait to see if you get a fast start and maybe you get a 185 and you bet under with a much better number. But this is a tournament game. Although we saw it with the UConn and Florida game, somehow that game went over because of a last-second meaningless 3 by Liam McNeely that caused everybody on the under to lose. So we've seen foul parades and we've seen foul shots and things happen in this tournament already. So you got to be careful with betting totals. To the West we go. Arkansas against Texas Tech. Total is 148. Number is 5.5. It opened at 5.5. No movement in this game. Let me ask you this question. Arkansas is 120-1 to win the national championship. They're getting healthy. They're getting players back who haven't played since February. They have Boogie Flan back already, playing his third game, looked much better in the second game than he did in the first game. Can John Calipari shock the world and win the whole thing?
I mean, I guess if it's 120-1, it means you got a chance. So you got a chance. It's not 0. I don't think so. I mean, I still remember watching this Arkansas team being up 3 with the free throw, intentionally try to miss, and then it just so happened to go in, but he intentionally tried to miss. And whether that's on player and coach took fault, or that's on coach, or whatever it is, that was very, very scary. And it feels like when I've watched Arkansas over the course of the season, there's been a lot of moments where I'm like, man, it's just that thing that doesn't give me that good vibe. However, here at Texas Tech, I do think they have a chance, because I do think that Texas Tech's defense gives them a door where they can go and they can keep the red hot scoring that they've been on. Arkansas has been scoring a lot of points recently. Their team total for this game is at 71.5, and they've been over this in every game this month, except for the beginning of the month on the road at South Carolina in a letdown spot. And so now you look on the other side, Texas Tech has been giving up this number in majority of their games. They gave it up in the first round against UNCW. They didn't give it up against Drake, but that's not that Drake team. We don't know Drake to go be offense and up and down the court trying to match what Texas Tech was doing. And so I think that Texas Tech is going to play into Arkansas here, and Arkansas is just going to continue the red hot offense. Whether they keep this game close or not really doesn't matter to me. I'm taking Arkansas team total over.
Yeah, I think Arkansas wins the game outright, but I think you got to take the points at plus 5.5. Guys, do you like what you're hearing from Terrell and I right now? Well, if you're on Twitch, or maybe you want to join Twitch, we're going to be live during the madness every Saturday at 11 o'clock Eastern time. To get there, we're going to borrow our sister affiliate friends at Fantasy Pros, twitch.tv/Fantasy Pros. We're going to give you our picks for the Elite Eight. We're going to break down all the games. Anything we like, anything jumps off the page, we're going to have it for you coming up this Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern time, 8 o'clock Pacific. That is instead of the Discord channel chat that I do every Saturday morning. We're going to move it over to Twitch, twitch.tv/Fantasy Pros, to get Terrell and I coming up this Saturday. So mark it down, make a note, and we'll be talking to you guys Saturday at 11 a.m. on twitch.tv/Fantasy Pros. Maryland and Florida. Well, the professionals are telling you what they think of Maryland. Florida was a 5-point favorite at open. They're now a 7-point favorite. It's 7.5 at certain offshores. DraftKings is at 6.5. Total is 158 now, opened at 155. What do you make of this? Because it feels like Florida in a rout.
Oh, yeah. It was fun, Maryland. It was. Hey, Derek Queen, you're my dog. I appreciate you. Really, really good time. But it's over because there's too many options here. Too many options on Florida, where if you're sitting there and you're looking for, hey, I hope this guy has a bad game, maybe we can get, Clayton, or you got Richard, or you got Martin, like you got all these guys. And then we talk about the bigs, and that's where I think that Maryland's really, really going to have an issue. Is going to be with Queen and Reese going up and trying to offensive rebound with the likes of Condon and those bigs. And so I think offensive rebounds and extra possessions are going to be on Florida's side here. The bigs are so good passing out of the post too. So Maryland's really, really going to have to lock down defensively when the ball goes up in the air. The big comes down with it and not letting somebody get an open three or an open look at the basket. I just think that it's going to be a slow, methodical death here. Give me Florida in a rout, laying 6.5.
And 2 East Coast teams out west at Chase Center. I'll be curious to see where this number goes. I haven't bet it yet. I'm going to wait and watch and see where it settles, but I'm more than likely going to be on your side here, laying the points with Florida. To the south we go, and it's Michigan against Auburn. I cannot get Michigan right, whether it be the Big Ten tournament or the SEC tournament, but Auburn played better than I thought they were going to against the Creighton Blue Jays. I did not think they'd cover the 10. They did. They were able to get there, win by 14 points. This number now is a big one as well. DraftKings is up to 9.5 with a total of 154 for Auburn and Michigan. Can the Big Ten Wolverines keep this game close? I think they got a shot to do so if they keep pace down against Auburn.
Yeah, they could. I couldn't get there on this one either because, I mean, Creighton looked good against them until they didn't. So if you're telling me everything and run down this list of, hey, Michigan and everything they can do against this team and all of that, I say it sounds good until Auburn goes on this run and they end up covering the game. I don't want any parts of this one.
Auburn is 3-7 ATS against the number. They won by 12 against the final score fell 12. So they covered the 9 and the 10 against the Creighton Blue Jays. But that was the first cover since March the 1st for Auburn. They just haven't been covering big numbers. 5 consecutive games Michigan has covered. They've won all 5 of those games. A nail biter against Maryland, against Wisconsin in the Big Ten tournament final. They beat UC San Diego with the last second 3-point win. They hung on there, and then they beat A&M by 12. I was not a big fan of A&M. I wasn't a fan of Mississippi State. There are a bunch of teams, Vanderbilt, a bunch of SEC teams at the bottom that I wasn't a very big fan of. So I'm not putting a ton of stock in that win for Michigan, but I do think they'll have a shot if this number continues to climb and we're going to get close to double digits, and we're close already. But if we get 10 on this, I will be on Michigan. You give me 10 points plus 10. I'll take Michigan plus the points, but right now it's a no play. The other game on that pod in the South is Ole Miss, who is maybe the hottest team in the country, up against Michigan State. Ole Miss and Chris Beard, the number's 4, 3.5, or 3, depending on where we're looking here for this one. I like Ole Miss here. I took the points. I think Chris Beard's got something. We saw Tom Izzo today show his age a little bit. He called the transfer portal the urinal. He was really angry about questions about what to do in the portal about recruiting players and who is he going to sign in the NIL world. And he was real mad. Not to say that's a part of the handicap for this, but I think Ole Miss is just playing. I saw them in Tennessee, in Nashville. I saw the buzzer beater against Arkansas. They're just hot right now. I know it's Izzo in March, but give me the points. You?
I couldn't. I really, really didn't feel as confident, but I also didn't have Ole Miss this far, and so now that I see Ole Miss versus Michigan State, I really had Michigan State all the way up to this point. Now that I see Ole Miss versus Michigan State, it doesn't feel as good to lay the points with Michigan State. But I've seen Ole Miss kind of come up and lay some eggs and be hot, and then play a good team, a good defense, in what Michigan State is, and kind of get humbled and struggle to score the basketball. I really don't want any parts of this one. I think that if there was anything I possibly could get to, is maybe an under.
So Ole Miss, I saw the buzzer beater against Arkansas, won by 3. They didn't cover, but they won that game. They took Auburn to the brink. They gave Auburn all they could handle in the SEC tournament. They lost by 5, but they covered the 12.5 easy. They played so well against Carolina. I mean, I was blown away by how well Ole Miss came out of the gates. They had to hang on because Carolina got hot in the second half, but that was a hell of a performance. And then Iowa State, to beat Iowa State, I know the injuries were gigantic, but that game was never close. I mean, they killed Iowa State. And Iowa State was a team I had a 20-1 ticket on to win the national championship. And I really thought, the injuries factored in big time with that. But I was really impressed with the way that Ole Miss played. I think that Chris Beard's a really good coach, and I think he's got a really good team at the moment. Michigan State may win the game, and they win. I want over 3, 3.5 or 4. I don't want 3. I want the hook. But I think Ole Miss is going to wind up having a shot to win the game at the end. This is going to be a hell of a game. 2 more games to get into here in just 1 second, but a reminder on the NCAA Pick'em contest, which is going on right now. If you think you know your college hoops, take your
money where your mouth is.
Oh, yeah, right. You got pick your winners and make your predictions against the spread all tournament long for a chance to win up to $1,000 in FanDuel DFS credits, signed jerseys, and free annual BettingPros subscriptions. The best part, this thing is completely free, going on throughout the entire tournament at bettingpros.com/contests. That's bettingpros.com/contests. Purdue and Houston. So this is part of my experiment that I told you about that I was going to do. Take $100 and roll it over every single game. Now, I got greedy the next day. After Houston on Saturday won, I got greedy. I bet Florida and Duke money line. scared the holy heck out of me. Florida almost cost it, almost blew the whole bankroll shot on it. Instead, I got $207 that I'm rolling over to Houston money line against Purdue. I can't believe they're playing in Indianapolis. It's completely a clown show by the committee to send a 1 seed to Indiana to play
It's
Purdue.
fine. It's fine.
Give me Houston money line.
But the Houston fans travel. They're going to be well represented there, and they're playing in a football stadium. I mean, if there's any team that I want to back that's going to come into a football stadium ready to go, it's Kelvin Sampson, Houston Cougars here. I am all over this Houston team. There's nothing you can tell me. I kind of really hope that there's some kind of mix up with Florida here going forward, because I want Houston to win the national championship. I want to watch Houston win. Houston is so good when I watch them. And even when they melt down, they hunker down, figure it out, and push forward for the win. They're going to get this done. I continue my favorite bet, Houston first half. Houston first half laying the points here. Once again, very good bet. They always handle business in the first half. Some little debauchery with kind of feeling good about being up in the game in the second half sometimes, but first half is normally always money. Like it there, taking it there. I love this Houston team. I have them to get to the Final Four. I took the plus money on it. I didn't understand why every single other 1 seed was laying the points to get to the Final Four. Houston was the one that was plus money, but I took it anyway. And I think they're going to be in the national title game with a chance to win.
Yeah, they're there. I have Florida and Houston playing for my bracket, so I'm with you right there with Houston. I mean, Purdue in Indianapolis is an unfortunate draw. I don't know if they cover the number. I think they do win, but I do think they beat Purdue more than what they beat Gonzaga by from a margin. Gonzaga was a really good test for them to have to buckle down and play a Mark Few team.
Top 10 team.
Yeah. I mean, on paper, yes. I mean, just depends on if we want to break down the numbers. Gonzaga was a top 10 KenPom team, was power rated team. They didn't play well against St. Mary, so that kind of dropped them down, and they had some bad losses in the non-conference that caused them to be an 8 seed. That's why Houston played them in the second round. But that was a hell of a fight, and Houston showed a lot of heart in that to hang on and win that game up against Gonzaga. I know Matt Pinner's a really good coach, but this is someone in the chat saying that we're going to expose Houston. I don't know about that.
I will go ahead and say it. I think Houston does not see any other resistance on their path until Duke in the Final Four. I don't think they see any other resistance in the rest of these standings. I don't think they see any other resistance. I think they are going to steamroll Peru.
I love Purdue Houston. And then Kentucky or Tennessee. It's hard to argue.
And I think they roll both of them.
It's hard to argue. I mean, the numbers are going to be, in terms of money line, it's 350 right now for this Purdue game. It's going to be similar against Tennessee and Kentucky. I mean, if it's Kentucky, it might be 9, it might be 10. Tennessee might be a 6, 5.5 type of number. But when you watch Houston, it's the eye test more than anything. The way they defend, how active they are on the glass. No one plays harder than Houston, and nobody is as active defensively as the Cougars are. So
they're bought in as a program. They're bought into their coach. That's everything you need. Just how the UConn was so bought into Hurley those past 2 seasons that they every single game, it wasn't even close.
Right.
Sampson has this team. He has them. This is his best team yet. And man, I really, really feel like it's this year. Every time I watch them play, I feel like it's his year.
And Thomas, I get it that Tennessee is pretty good, but Tennessee is coached by Rick Barnes, and he has to show everyone he can do it in March, and he can take teams to the Final Four, but can they upset a 1 seed where they're going to be a big dog? I mean, maybe. I mean, they've got the point guard play. I love Ziegler. They've got, wing scoring. Mm-hmm. But Tennessee and Houston are kind of like mirror images of each other, and Houston's a better version of Tennessee. So, that's the problem for the Volunteers. Normally, they're the team that outworks their opponent. They're the team that physically on defense takes them apart. You can't do that with Houston. So, they're built very similarly, and Houston's just a better version of them. So, I have a really hard time seeing Tennessee beat Houston. Kentucky plays differently. Kentucky might be able to hit enough threes to make Houston be uncomfortable. But again, that team plays right into the way Houston wants to do it. Shut you down, take away your options, and then they could score, and you're all of a sudden sitting at 50 points like they did to BYU. BYU scored 99 points against Iowa State. The next day scored 50 against Houston. So it's just where they are defensively. They're such a talented roster and talented team that Hard to see either Tennessee or Kentucky in my mind beating Houston and them not making it to the Final Four. One more game to get to, and that is Kentucky and Tennessee. Like we talked about, number was 5.5. It's been bet down here. I've been going back and forth on this game. I'll let you go first with this. Where are you on Kentucky and Tennessee, Terrell?
Man, I mean, congrats to going back and forth. I have been smack dab in the middle of this because I would love to sit here and say I'm on Kentucky, but I don't know. I personally, I think Tennessee, I think they look better on paper, but I've watched 2 games where they clearly lost those games. And so there's no reason for me to have any faith in Tennessee. So I sit here and I say, well, I have no faith in Tennessee, but I really don't really like Kentucky in this spot either. I couldn't get there on either one.
I like Kentucky here. What's the points? I think this is a 3-point game one way or the other. And so I'm going to take the points on this. I think this is going to be an awesome basketball game. And these teams have played this season. They've had really fun battles. They're SEC schools. They know each other really well. I mean, this could be the game of the day on Sunday for this. And I can't wait to see it. The first time these two teams played, it was a 10.5-point number, and Kentucky won the game by 5. The second time that they played, it was a 3.5-point number, and Kentucky won by 11. This idea that a team can't win 3 times in 1 year, Kentucky just may have Tennessee's number. They just might have it. So I'm going to take the points. I got them as a dog again. Let's see if they can go 3-0 against the spread and potentially win the game outright and beat Kentucky. Always going to have to be great like he has been. They got to stay out of foul trouble. They got to take care of the basketball and not let Tennessee have easy transition baskets. But if they hit the 3 like they did in Knoxville, could be a really long day for Tennessee. The Vols can't keep up with the volume that Kentucky can score at, and they got to stop them. And if they can't, they could get run off the court here, and it could be Mark Pope's first year taking this team to the Elite 8. So I'll take the points. Kentucky may lose the game, but I think 4.5 is too heavy. Numbers coming down. Opened at 5.5, all the way down to 4 here in Vegas. There are some 4.5
still out there. There's still some 4.5s out there.
How about the total? 145, over or under?
I don't know. Because I think if Tennessee wins, it's probably an under type of game. They locked down defensively, didn't let them shoot a bunch of threes. And if Kentucky wins, it probably went over the total, and they were hitting every shot. And Tennessee tried to keep up, but they couldn't. So I'm torn there because I don't like a side. But those are the kind of game scripts that I see.
Before we give you their picks and plays, Terrell, what are folks going to get with fast break bets?
Oh, you're going to get a good time of me talking about bets, a lot of nonsense and more bets. And man, I mean, we're on a little bit of a run, a couple of nice days in the tournament, got some nice plus money there. Also had a good day in the NBA. So I'm looking to have some more.
All right. Before we give you the bets, let me ask you money line here, not against the spread, just picking games. First, Auburn, Michigan, who wins?
Auburn, Michigan. Give me Auburn still.
Agreed. Ole Miss, Michigan State. Who wins?
I'm gonna stick with the bracket. Let's go Michigan State. See, look, I almost said Ole Miss. I don't know. Yeah, give me Michigan State still. I'll stick with the bracket.
I picked Michigan State on my bracket. I'll pick it as well. I did have Auburn losing to Creighton, so I have Auburn up against Michigan State in the final for. We'll get to the Elite 8 game on Monday. Or sorry, on Saturday rather. Florida, Maryland. Who wins?
Come on, Florida.
Agreed. Texas Tech, Arkansas. Who wins?
Arkansas gives me a run for my money, but I'm sticking with Texas Tech.
Arkansas, money line. Kentucky, Tennessee. Who wins?
Nah, I'm not going for it. Give me Mark Pope and Kentucky.
Me too. Kentucky wins. Houston, Purdue.
Oh, Houston.
Agreed. BYU, Bama. Who wins?
BYU.
Agreed. And finally, Duke and Arizona. Who wins?
I hate those Dukies so much, but they get it done.
Yeah, Duke wins. Duke against BYU. We'll break that game if we get it, coming up on Saturday on twitch.tv/fantasypros at 11 a.m. Eastern time. On Saturday morning will be the next time you guys will get us breaking down games for the Elite 8. Terrell, your picks again that you want to give out here now. I know you'll have more on fast break bets, but for now, what are you going with?
All right, BYU plus 5.5. And I'm sprinkling on the money line for sure. Florida laying 6.5 here. Arkansas team total over 71.5. And Houston first half laying 4.5. They always win big in the first half. Love it.
It's been a chalky tournament, and I've been taking dogs, and it hasn't been working, but I'm going to stick right with it because I like points. I got BYU just like Terrell does against Alabama. Sprinkle that money line for sure. I like Ole Miss. Same thing. Take the 3.5. Sprinkle the money line on Chris Beard. The Houston money line rollover experiment is still going. We're taking $207 if you're partaking in it, and we're going to bet money line. That would win you 60. So we'd have $267 going into the Elite Eight matchup, where against Kentucky or Tennessee, we would then go ahead and bet that on the money line as well to get to the Final Four. And Kentucky plus 4.5. The Kentucky Wildcats against Tennessee. They may lose the game, but I like Kentucky at plus 4.5 plus the points against the Vols. They may win the game. They've won the previous 2 games against Tennessee. Let's see if they can go 3-0 ATS against the Volunteers. Again, guys, Saturday at 11 a.m. Mark it down. We're on Twitch, twitch.tv/fantasypros for us to be here. He is Terrell Furman. I'm Perrault. We'll talk to you on Saturday to break down the Elite Eight for the NCAA tournament.